been that close.
Demolish for sure, the best in the world right
Hello. Woo! Yeah, smarter.
What's good? What's good? What's good, sports world? Welcome to BLEAV in Bills. I'm your host, Mookie Hawkins. Joining me in the studios today, I got my guy, the General, Justice Radford. And come on now, you know what I mean? 9-time Pro Bowler Ruben Brown, you know what I mean, is in the building. You know what I mean? You are watching this thing right here on, BLEAV in Sports Network, brought to you by SiriusXM, presented by Bet Online. And we'll get into that too, because there's a whole bunch of tickets that bit the dust yesterday. I ain't naming no names, but those Indianapolis Colts owe a lot of people some money. But nevertheless, Monday night doubleheader, the Bills opened up for the first time in history, playing home opener on a Monday night. It was crazy. It took me almost an hour and a half to get to the stadium. It was just wild, but it was an awesome time. And the Buffalo Bills did not disappoint, destroying the Tennessee Titans, as only I knew they probably would, and all of us in this room knew that they would. 41-7. And, Stephon Diggs said it was a lot of meat left on the bone. And I agree with him on that. But, guys, what was your thoughts on, how the whole event took place? Because, both of you guys were there. Ruben, we'll definitely start with you because you had a fun field day.
Yeah. I had a pretty much front row seat to all the festivities and activities leading up to the game. A lot of the alumni were in town, like the Hall of Famers, Marv Levy, Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Thurman McThomas, Bruce Smith, who is spearheading a lot of stuff in the Buffalo community. That was inspirational when they brought out the family members from the victims of the top shooting there in Buffalo, and Bruce pledging along with all the other Buffalo Bills family that they're going to get behind the cause and support the movement to improve the situation in that area. And you could see Bruce got touched up about it while he was speaking. But he ended by, saying what everybody really was there for that day is let's go Buffalo. And, the Bills came out and they did their thing. They capitalized on the day, the emotion, everything. Monday Night Football, which is traditionally a huge showcase for all the talent. The Buffalo Bills haven't always been able to be on Monday night in years past for whatever reason, but now they have a premier product, and the NFL wants to put it on its best showcase platform, which is Monday night, as much as it can. And the Buffalo Bills fan base came out and showed out. I mean, Bills Mafia was mad deep. The whole world got to see it, from the beginning, and it was just a ton of excitement. A cool thing, I got to chat with the guys that sung the national anthem, the police officers to singing. Yeah,
Mo.
Well, Mook, you know me. I always come to you and be like, "Oh, Mook, I forgot I already know them." And Mook will be like, "Yeah, man, you done met them a million times already." I've been living in the community and around so much. I just see people on a regular basis so much when they step out in their showcase, I just forget. That I see them all the time at the grocery store or some stuff like that. But it was great to see them and the excitement that everybody in Buffalo has for the Bills. So,
yeah, not your typical Monday night, right?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was real special. I'm still tired from it because I didn't get back here to New York until like the last. I mean, I got back here around 9 a.m. this morning. I took like a 5 a.m. flight out of Buffalo. because I wanted to get here, and get some rest, and kind of look at some of the film about the game, and be really, really critical of them, because when you win and win in the fashion that they won, you think all is good and there's nothing wrong. They just keep doing more of the same. But there's some areas they can clean up. And if we look at the stat book on the day, uh, the real tale of the tape that dictated the Buffalo Bills win was the turnovers. The special teams turnovers and the interceptions, and those really won the game, because if you go and look at the stats, it wasn't a statistical shutout by the Buffalo Bills. It was very competitive by the Buffalo Bills. And one stat that stands out, in particular for me, while I look at it, is the time of possession. Even the Titans, I think, had the ball like 28 minutes, where the Bills had about 31 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And usually that's indicative of a tight game. Uh, but where that tide turns is in those turnovers, and not only in those turnovers, and this is what's deadly about the Buffalo Bills team, and this is what everyone is excited about. In those turnovers, they made points out of all of that, one way or another. Whether it was, I think one of the turnovers was a field goal. The rest were either a touchdown, and obviously the defensive one, well, one of the defensive ones was to the house, but one of the defensive ones was turned into a field goal. So always there were some points generated. So that puts more distance between you and your opponent, and also we knew. I mean, running the ball, big fella over there had 80 yards. Now we
Ooh.
don't have turnovers. Uh-oh, it might be different. Y'all see where I'm going with this? So as excited we are in one area, in another area, we better look closely and say, "Yo, big fella had some yards over there. Let's make sure that that's not the case anymore." And obviously, getting turnovers help with that. And I would say that's the focus of my recap of the Bills game, is really time of possession. Uh, let's not get too excited and look at some of those things we need to shore up, just in case we play a game when we don't get turnovers. You see what I'm saying? You don't get them turnovers, and now you're in a battle with Derrick Henry, and we needed to turn up. Now we got Josh on the other side, and he dropping dimes. He's hitting every different receiver, fullback, water boy, the doctor,
Right.
and the trainer's catching passes over there. He dropping bombs. So that's a good deal. And also Josh, it wasn't all on Josh to run the ball on Sunday. Found a lot of different ways with the screen and the running
Well,
backs
it seemed
contribute.
like they just took care of business and say, okay, want to join me in this race? See if you can
Yeah,
keep up. And they couldn't keep up. The big fella was personal. He only had
yeah,
25 yards rushing on the ground,
yeah,
and by that time, yeah, they
yeah. You
caused
couldn't
four
get.
turnovers in the with an offense like as the Bills. They're going to score points off of that. They scored them quickly. I mean, they put up 41 points in 3 quarters. I mean,
Yeah.
they could
Well,
have really put
see,
up 60.
that's what's deadly about the Bills. And just as you agree, like the Bills are capitalizing on their opportunities, they're not wasting their opportunities. I mean, the Bills had sacks, they gave up a sack in a game. There were some plays that didn't go as they were playing, but overall, each time they went out on the field, they were effective at executing enough plays that it was a tidal wave.
For me, this was my first weekend out in Orchard Park at the stadium. So I got to experience all the festivities and everything that went into Monday night. So it was a really cool weekend for me. And we were at Resurgence, and my guy Joe Miller was hosting a podcast, and I got to ask a question. I asked him, I said, how do the Titans score points in this game? Because I look at what we did to the defending champions and the Rams, and I look at the Titans that Robert Woods coming off an ACL injury. Treylon Burks hasn't had glowing remarks coming out of training camp. Ryan Tannehill is fighting off of not even a first round draft pick, but a talented backup in Malik Willis. It looks like their corners are out. It looks like this team is not ready.
Right.
Just to be short about it, right? And I just couldn't figure out, like, how are they supposed to score points? Now, of course, their first drive, they strolled right down the field and scored those points, and I got a little nervous. But for me, when I watched the game, it looked like total and complete domination by the Bills. Because if I, you coming out of the first quarter, 7-7, I think it was, and then in the second quarter, it ended up being 10-7 for most of it, and 17-7 going into the half. That's a closest game. And when you look at, the scoreboard and they're telling you team stats, and the Bills have 300 total yards, the Titans have like 97 total yards, something like that. And I'm like, this game seems a lot more lopsided than what the score is looking like.
Yeah.
And then, really in the third quarter, they just unleashed all hell on this team. And, Josh went crazy, Diggs went crazy. And that's the thing that's encouraging to me, is because they said they left meat on the bone, and I think they really did. Like, they did capitalize on a lot of the opportunities that were available to them, especially off the turnovers, like you said. But there was still some plays to be had. The 4th and 1 that wasn't converted. There was other plays where they end up having the one time where they ended up punting it. They went for a couple field goals. Like, there was still some plays to be had. Josh missed a couple throws, but I mean, you can't complain when he goes out there and throws for 317 yards, and has a 128.9 rating, so you can't complain too much. And so the third quarter was like really absolutely wild, because it was like back-to-back touchdowns.
Right.
And, it really shows how good this team could be, because it's more than just the offense. It's more than just Josh Allen going out there and being a superstar. This defense is dominant. Holding probably, I mean, he was consensus best running back in the league the last half decade in Derrick Henry. Holding 25 yards on 13 carries, that's nuts. They just went out there and they played smash mouth football, and they shut the other team down for the second week straight. And these are no slouches. We're not playing the Jets and I think the Bengals are trash, but we're not playing two bad teams coming off the start of the year. We're playing the defending Super Bowl champions and the defending number one team in the AFC. So, you can say what you want about how these teams aren't ready to go when it's early in the season. Well, I mean, they had the same allotted time as the Bills to get prepared for these games, and the Bills are looking good. So, you shouldn't have any excuses. So I don't buy that whole thing about, it's early in the season and they weren't, ready, or whatever the case may be. You had training camp and preseason to get ready. That's what it's there for. So
I say this, Justice, to piggyback off what you say, the people that talk about, oh, the team wasn't ready, this one, there's a problem with this. The players know this is the NFL, and it's hard to get a win against anybody. So if you don't show up with your best player, too bad. You know what I mean? If you don't have your best guns, too bad. The season goes on, and this year is 2022 goes into 2023, and that's what you got to show up for. And if you don't have it, then we can't feel bad for you if you don't have have yourself.
A couple of our dogs too.
Exactly. Players got hurt. People are not in there, and still trying to figure out some of the development of the team. Our team still, as good as it looks, and there's still more to be done. More for those guys.
Exactly. So. As good as the Bills have looked so far, they still have not even played a great game. That's the scary part. Like the defense has been phenomenal. I don't want to take anything away
Yeah.
from what they're doing. 10 points to the Rams, 7 points to the Titans,
Yeah.
17
Yeah.
total points in 2 weeks to two playoff teams last year is absolutely phenomenal. I don't want to take away from the defense is doing, but the offense hasn't played a great game yet. And that's the scary part if I'm anybody except the Bills fan.
Hmm. I just know that the Bills, what they've shown right now is something. It's definitely scary for everyone because here's a team that, given the opportunity in scoring range, they're scoring. You
Yep.
know, you give them the ball near the 50, they score. What was the first play, first drive, the 75-yard play, a 75-yard drive
He
in the
threw a
opener.
dime to Kumaro.
Yeah, 75 yards to start the game with. You know what I mean? And then the rest of the times we got 50 yards to go, 40 yards to go, 20 yards or 30 yards. Come on, that's a noble. It's shooting fish in a barrel.
And on
You
top
know
of
what I
that,
mean?
we have maybe the most underrated kicker in the league.
The muff
The,
guy, the muff
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We got to give. Listen, always when we talk, let's always try to remember to give the special teams guys some love, because it's really a tough profession. We don't think about it until they actually have to, either kick that field goal or
Yeah,
get that punt out deep
yeah,
or something like that. So,
Mhm.
and would you say also we gotta give them credit for those guys that went down on the coverage and
for
covered
sure,
it,
for sure. Your
stuff
Tyler
like that.
Matakavages, your Taiwan Joneses, your
Yeah,
Andre Smiths. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
that's a
we'll
huge
we'll
key.
we'll dive into that when it's time to handle our grade portion of
Yeah,
that. But when you do look at the overall stats, total dominance by the Bills, 414 total yards to 187 for Tennessee. 313 of that was in the air compared to only 107 for the Titans. I want to really get into the rushing yards, but I mean, in grand total, they did have 80 yards. Bills had over 101 due to the James Cook getting some quality minutes and some quality touches. Led the team with 53 yards. Bills was efficient on fourth down and third down, 5 for 13, amassed 23 first downs in the game. Only was sacked once, got 2 sacks. So I mean, they're getting better. They're getting
I'm
better.
gonna go back to what I said on the top. Now look at them stats again, and this is a nuance that really good coaches use to inspire coach and get the best out of their teams. They will show that how close those stats are opposed to how big the victory you had. So you don't, as a team, get too high on yourself like, oh man, we blew them out, which they did. They blew them out, because when the opportunities came, they capitalized. But like I said, you take those turnovers away, and you got to be in a dogfight game to win. You have to use those stats to get into your players' heads to let them know how important each and every down is. All those little short answers. Let's try not to drop any passes because we might not have our linebacker pick their quarterback off. We might need that pass that you drop, or that play where you missed the block and it caused us a tackle in the backfield, or we didn't get the fourth down. See, these are the things that McDermott and the coaching staff has to step up and kind of throw a little blanket on the fire a bit, so they don't get too hot, you know, but
All right.
keep the coals hot, so you can still grill, but you don't want them too hot to burn stuff.
Oh
And
yeah, they don't. They're not
you
looking
know what I
past
mean?
anybody, especially what they experienced as a team last year. The loss of Pittsburgh, the loss of the
Yeah.
Tennessee late in the game, and
Jacksonville,
obviously the
Indy.
Jacksonville loss. So I talked to
Indy
I
Josh
was the
heard,
about that.
worst loss last year to me.
yeah,
That was
I talked to
embarrassing.
Josh about that at training camp, and he said we just got to make sure that every team get our best game. So there's
Absolutely.
no
I
room for error.
heard I heard Stephon Diggs speak about this on what was he on with Stephen A. Smith,
Oh,
and they
first
were
take
Yesterday,
asking
one.
him.
today on First Take.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was saying how that is such those losses are in some ways like building blocks. And I tell you guys, I can attest to that. It happened to us with the Bills. I played out with the Bears, and it happened to us. It got us to the Super Bowl. I mean, we had some losses where we were like, wait a minute, man, we better than that. We took it personal and dug in and really used that as a springboard, something that propelled us to higher ground. So the whole Bills group leadership is saying that. They're saying it in public. So these dudes is straight up hungry, man. And it's what you like to hear from a really dominant team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, they know the confidence is there, but I think that the overall experience of what they endured as a team the past
Yeah,
3 years, is comprised to, they always say, make sure we don't get too high, don't get too low. I was
yeah,
even with
yeah.
Dion last night, and I told him, I was like, yo, Dion, y'all are the shiz nitty. And he was like,
Yeah, yeah.
nope. He was like, nope. He's like, nope. He was
That's
like,
just,
nope. No, we not. No, we not. We gonna take this thing, 1 week at a time, one practice at a time,
yeah,
and we're gonna
I
take
like
care of
that
business
mindset,
accordingly that way.
but one thing I do appreciate is because week to week, of course, that's the correct mindset to have. But in the midst of games, I remember last year their mantra was a little bit of we want to be the best team on the football field that day.
right.
And a lot of times you will see them playing down to their competition sometimes.
Yeah,
But this year, Von Miller was speaking to it. He said he doesn't know what it was like in the locker room before he got there. But this year they want it all. They want to dominate people. They don't want to leave no meat on the bone, like Stephon Diggs said. And I appreciate that more as a fan. You get to watch blowouts happen. But
yeah,
last year, you look at the Jaguars game and the Colts game and things like that, you could tell that they just didn't have that fiery, that emotion the same way that they have this season. And I think bringing back your Jordan Phillips, he's out there literally every play on defense, hyping the crowd up. Like,
yeah,
you bringing back your Shaq Lawsons, you bringing back these big energy guys, and then to boot, you add maybe a top 5 pass rusher of all time. I'm really, really impressed with what I'm seeing from this defense and the energy that they're bringing.
yeah. That defense, and let's put it like this: as good as all the other the parts of that defense are, we're seeing the success. The improvement of that defense is because of the four guys up front. And when your four-man front can do and disrupt what they're doing, it makes it very difficult on a team because now they're not having to always commit DBs or linebackers into creating pressure or disruption up there on the line. They actually can just call plays with their four.
Mm.
And that is a huge advantage with guys who don't know. It's just substitution wise and matchup wise and stuff like to have four big guys that can move around and cause a disruption, and you can leave your smaller guy deep linebackers and stuff to cover the skills players and things like that, and they're not going after. That's where we're looking at, guys. Let's look at the past. In the past, we did not have that. We were trying to orchestrate some type of pressure, I mean, with schemes and different things, and not really saying, okay, Vaughn and the crew, y'all go up there and do what y'all got to do, and the linebackers and the DBs will shut the rest of this down back here, and just to trick them here and there, and give the DBs and the linebackers some fun. We'll let them shoot up the field and go cause some disruptions here and there. But mainly, we're going to do that up front. And all championship teams, all winning teams, it has to start up front. It has to start on the line, you know. And our D line is doing that. And I know the play of the D line is improving the play of our offensive line. This Monday night, offensive line looked good. I'm very critical of our offensive line, so we're looking good, but I think our D line looked better. If I have to compare, you know, the standout areas, and maybe I'm starting to get into an area, Mookie, you might want to
No, I
do.
mean you're right. You're right
Yeah,
because that's all it was in
yeah,
training camp. That's what led to 10 straight fights, 10 straight days in training
yeah,
camp. The
It
defense
looked
was
bad at the
kicking the
time,
O
but it looked
line's
good now.
ass. I had to ask Josh Allen, how much
yeah,
has this defensive line made you a better quarterback? And he said, hey man, it sucks going against them in practice, but it's going to be lovely in games. And
Yeah.
that was fair. Listen, when Josh talked, he's normally dead on when he be saying stuff. You know, I mean, from the beginning to now, he's always whatever he's pretty much said to me, pretty much has happened. So this is what he's seeing and going against every day in practice. Ain't no other team is going to give him that look. And our coach teams like that, not on those levels, but I have coach teams
yeah.
like how the
You know
Bills
what
have
it's
right
like.
now. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Where your best defense is really on your team. You know what I mean? So your
yeah,
practices is top notch. You know, your playoff atmosphere practice every day. So
That
yeah,
works
when
both
iron
ways
sharpens
though.
iron, that's what you're gonna get
Exactly.
when you play against
yeah,
another opponent.
Iron sharpens iron. You are going up against one of the better defensive line in practice every day,
yeah.
and they're going up against one of the better quarterbacks in the league every day. They're
Mhm.
not going to see, if any, too many quarterbacks better than Josh Allen at all this season, and he's not going to see
Absolutely.
too many D lines better than them. So, iron sharpens iron is the perfect way to put it.
Yeah, it's truly helping that offensive line come along and develop because they have some formidable foes over there to practice against to get them ready for the competition they're going to see. Because I thought Tennessee had a solid defensive line. I thought they had something. They gave the Bills some trouble, and I could see if the Bills were in a long down or having to throw deep passes, I could see them giving our offensive line a little bit more trouble. But we had the comfort of kind of being in the driver's seat and dictating more. So it took a lot of pressure off of our young, undeveloped line. But the line also being, like I'm saying, I'm critical of a lot more critical of the line than maybe some people. But I definitely saw improvement in the course of the game. And it's just uh, uh, it's it's a factor from the defense. I'm gonna tell you, the defensive line helped those guys, improve and tighten their game and be able to face these. I mean, you got Von Miller over there in practice. He's gonna teach you. Um, these guys can get after the passer and they can get into the gaps and cause disruptions. And so I think our line was a lot prepared this week to face that from the Titans line, and our line pretty much, you know, had a good going, a good, very good showing against a solid D line.
If they
Whereas,
can stop Aaron
yeah,
Donald for touching the quarterback, they can stop just about anybody from touching
Yeah.
their quarterback. You know, so
mm,
I mean, again, they don't have two. They ain't got no. They ain't that young. They
mm,
kind of young, but they ain't that young. They lightly seasoned on one side and Pro Bowled up on the
yeah.
other side with Roger
Well, you know
Saffold and
what
and
really
and, and Dion.
Well, it really helps a lot of that, and I'm noticing in there's two games, and this third game is going to be really the telltale. The flow of how they call in the plays to assist these guys. You have to slide two guys over to cover an Aaron Donald or a top rusher or someone like that,
Jeffrey
but
Simmons.
they also get good chances to double team those guys off the ball to wear down a Aaron Donald. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Aaron Donald can double teaming him off the ball is a lot different than double teaming and Dominican Sue.
Mhm.
Somebody like Sue, he gonna be gladly like, yeah, try to run double team me all day. You know what I mean? Where Aaron Donald is gonna be like, hey, I don't really want to have run double team all day. But you pass double team me, it's a different game for Aaron Donald. Whereas you pass double team and Dominican Sue is like, hey, you're wasting a guy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So it's just based on who you face each week. but also being able to get these aggressive double blocks up front opposed to passive double blocks in protecting. And so they complement each other, so it keeps the defensive line off. So when it's happening, it takes the defensive line a second to realize, oh, this is a passing double team opposed to a running double team. You know what I mean? And I think that is what's helped our line right now in the game. And, you know, there's not a lot of pressure on Josh. And when Josh gets the pressure, he steps up and moves away and rightfully helps the offensive line. You know what I mean?
To your point, the defensive line of Tennessee, I mean, they were playing formidable. They were stopping our run
Yeah,
game. We didn't have much of a run game to
right.
start with. And then it was really, honestly, the what won us with the game on offense, from the offense's perspective, was Josh Allen was torturing the safeties with his eyes. He was
Yeah,
like abusing them, making them go every which way except for where they should have been. He was torturing them with his eyes, and then Stephon Diggs was just taking advantage of, like we talked about, Roger McCreary. We said we were going to see how the young guy looked versus maybe the best wide receiver in the league, and I mean, they didn't show up.
yeah.
He tortured them. So,
He
you
tortured.
know, between Josh and
I
Diggs,
mean, come on now. Come on.
yeah,
Yeah,
We really thought Roger
not at
McCreary
all.
was
But
going
he's
to
a
check
first round
Stephon
pick.
Diggs.
man, he got a
Christian
Can't
Benford
nobody
is a
he in
check
the
second
Stephon
round
he in
Diggs.
pick.
the
And
NFL,
he was
bro.
out there on Robert Woods, you know what I'm
He
saying,
in
having a
the
good show.
Can't nobody check that dude, Rube.
he in
Can't nobody check that
the
dude, Rube. You see what he
I'm
did
with you.
yesterday. Listen,
Nasty.
listen. They did all
Nasty.
this in 3 quarters. 3
Three
quarters.
quarters. Let's
Oh
see.
They
yeah,
did
yeah,
all
yeah,
this in
yeah.
3 quarters.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
Let's
Now
get to the quarter.
it,
that
it could have
hold
got
on.
uglier than a masterpiece sneaker out there, man.
Hold on.
3
I'm gonna tell
quarters.
y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. It's a lot of things that go on, and when you playing football and you realize that hey, that's a monster team over there. That's a good team. In the NFL, it is not regular in the regular season to start pulling your starters because you don't put a whoop on somebody. This is not college. This is not high school. This is not Pop Warner. You all of them I just named, that can happen on a regular basis, weekly. But in the NFL, it does not happen where you pull your when you pull your starters and pay your backups and run. You know, the last time that I was on a team that happened, we went to the Super Bowl. Now we didn't win that Super Bowl. We should have argue that, but the fact is, once you doing beating people like that, you going to the Super Bowl, guys. I experienced. I'm just saying experience. I'm a Bills fan, and you know, if this wasn't the Bills and I saw that happening, I would tell you. I would say, hey guys, that team we faced, they pulled their starters out on us in the NFL game in the third quarter and gave their team a whole fourth quarter to build up their second team, get practice when no other team is going to be able to have that experience for any of their players. Y'all in trouble. Oh,
Stephon Diggs had more catches and yards in 3 quarters than they whole receiving group the entire
it's
game.
dangerous.
All
Y'all
right.
get where I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I mean? The
No Gabe Davis
magnitude
out there now,
of
mind you.
And
putting your second team quarterback in for a whole second half. And now a good thing for Tennessee, oddly enough got to play their quarterback out there to see, you know, some real game time stuff. As much as people's like, oh, this is like preseason. This on preseason. This not preseason. These guys that will played in that fourth quarter, they're going to either make a contribution to the team's winning success this year, and or making the team and making the depth of the team the following year. So that this fourth quarter that got played, even the guys that we played, it was very important that they got that playing time. You're gonna find out how valuable that is as the season goes on, injuries, such and just building your experienced team. This was very huge and very unusual for a regular season happening like this.
Yeah, the Bills did suffer some injuries, coming out of this ball game. Obviously, Dane Jackson with the next injury, he was taken to an ambulance for precaution. But great news, no
Hella
spinal
pit,
cord damage, no
man.
neck injury. No, he escaped major injury. So
Thank
right now he's
God.
just on a day-to-day basis. He was able to walk out of the hospital. So
It
that's
was ugly, but
excellent
thank
news.
God he good.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
excellent news. But Ed Oliver is still day to day with his ankle injury. Jordan Phillips tweaked his hammy while running down the sideline when Matt Malone was scoring this pick six.
Really?
Mitch Morris, he nicked up his elbow. Micah Hyde, he had a neck injury, had to go to the tent, didn't return to the football game. So those are some of the things we'll have to keep a close eye on because it is week 3 and time is here. And those Miami Dolphins been talking a lot of trash,
Swiss the
man.
fish.
They've been talking a lot of trash from week 1. Oh yeah, F the Bills. We want the Bills.
We want
Careful what you
Buffalo.
wish for. I understand. They
What?
had the greatest comeback, against the Ravens and yada yada yada. Bills is not gonna slip up and let a team come back from
Absolutely not.
35 to 14, especially after they then lost the game in 13 seconds. That is not going to ever happen. They'll let a team come back. If that happened against the Buffalo Bills, McDermott is going to probably want to remove the head coaching title away from, his name. If that ever was to happen, if his team was up 35 to 14 and they lose that game like that, especially after what they done went through, that's not going to happen. So, it's a track meet with this Buffalo Bills team, but hey, it is what it is. They're confident because they got Tyreek Hill, and many feel that Tyreek Hill is the Bills' kryptonite. So they had to go get Tyreek Hill. With the additions of Von Miller and what the Bills drafted, it left the rest of the AFC East scratching their head like, how in the hell we're going to compete against this? So it was a bit of war between the Jets and the Dolphins for the services of Tyreek Hill. But I mean, if you had the chance to go to New York or Miami plus the bag, you're gonna go and get the sun and everything else down in
No
Miami.
Taxes.
Hey.
Yeah. You see all of us saying the taxes.
Exactly.
You ain't good about nothing but them taxes,
Yes, sir.
That's
So it is here, week 3. Dolphins 2-0, Bills 2-0. Justice, what is your thoughts on this matchup?
I mean, come on, man. Listen, Tyreek Hill plus Patrick Mahomes, I might consider that Bills kryptonite, or at least previous versions of Bills kryptonite, right? We've never seen, at least not in Buffalo, we've never seen this type of team. To me, this type of team is a Peyton Manning Broncos type of team, where with Von Miller originally, where he was dominant off the line and won a Super Bowl MVP. But this isn't that. This isn't what you saw in Baltimore. Now, of course, the quarterback situation is a little similar. You got 2 top 5 quarterbacks, in my opinion. Joe Burrow is gone. Stop telling me he's a top 5 quarterback. Okay. Justin Herbert, I don't even think he should be in the top 5, but Lamar, I do. Okay. So but Josh Allen is on a completely different planet right now than really anybody. Patrick Mahomes might be the closest one to him, but Josh Allen is just out of his mind. So you can't bank on the Bills not scoring any points in the fourth quarter at all and miss your comeback attempt. You can't bank on people just running free down the. I mean, did Tua have 400 plus yards passing? Yes. Did he look good? I mean, he was underthrowing people. It was really Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle doing all the heavy lifting. Tua, I could have threw some of the touchdown passes he threw. So I'm not really banking on that. Not when you have Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde back there. The last thing Leslie Frazier is going to do is let Tyreek Hill get behind this defense. So you can't really bank on that if you're asking me. And not only that, but are we trusting that Tua Tagovailoa could actually go blow for blow with Josh Allen? Because even if you do think Tua could put points on his Bills defense, which I don't think he can, at least not as many as Josh could, Josh is going to go out there and treat the Dolphins like he has his last two games. They've scored 75 points against the Dolphins in the last two games. And you got the audacity to chant you want Buffalo? I get it. During the drought, we were like, oh, we got a couple games now. We want New England. I understand it, but sometimes you gotta be careful what you ask for. I don't think Dolphins fans quite understand the level of of just sheer power, just sheer like the prowess that the Bills possess. I don't think they know just how good they are. I think they, kind of get, oh, Josh Allen's great in the media. But when you have to stand across from 17 and you have to stand across from 14, 13 might be back next week too. And then, if I'm being completely honest, none of the rest of the Bills' weapons even did anything yesterday. Dawson Knox didn't do anything. Jake Kummerow had a couple good catches. Reggie Gilliam was a beast, of course, but like your Isaiah McKenzie's, your Khalil Shakir, your, some of the main guys, Devin Singletary, Cook, Moss, they didn't do anything. So now you get other guys contributing. How do you stop that? The Dolphins have already proved they can't stop it with lesser Bills teams from the past, lesser Bills offenses, and then the defense put a donut on them last year. And I mean, of course, like I said, you get Tyreek Hill, that is nothing to sneeze at, but it's going to take more than that because you're going to need a good quarterback to make anything happen in Miami. And I'm not saying Tua can't do it. He just won't be able to do it against the Bills.
Yeah, Buffalo is the smoke and wants the smoke. All right. Everybody know that. They are the smoke and they want the smoke. They have to be careful of everyone that they face, regardless of the talent level, because one, it is the NFL, and guys gear up to knock people off in this, and they have a target on their backs now. The Bills are a team that everyone would like to get a win against because they believe that the Bills are that good, and they are. And the reason why the Bills are that good now is, like we were saying earlier, I think they have better upfront line play, defense and offense, and that hadn't been the case when they played Miami in the past. Miami had a slight edge on them, probably defensive line wise, in the past. And I don't know about offensive line wise because they always struggling down there offensive line wise in Miami. Um, but Tua's mobility and stuff like that, just like Josh's mobility, helps ailing line. But to Justice, your point, what's going to make it difficult for the Miami Dolphins to continue to have success uh, uh, particularly against the Bills, is the fact that the Bills will only have to dedicate 4 guys to put pressure onto Baloa. And Valo's inexperience as a starting quarterback he's years away. We saw, I would say, Josh was like Tunga some years ago. I mean, we believed in Josh that he was going to end up being this type of quarterback that he is today. But early on, he was making some mistakes, like you see Tonga making, not really sure, not really reading the defense all well, and not really being in control of the offense and just throwing the ball. Because really, I see that's what Valor is doing right now. He's just he see a guy open, yeah, he could throw it up there to Tyreek Hill because, yeah, Tyreek is fast. And no matter what we do on defense, all right, Hill's going to get a play or two. All right, we know that. He's going to snag one out there, going to do a one-hand grab or something like that over someone. But it's going to take more than those one big drop bombs to beat the Buffalo Bills for Miami, because this is the discussion we're having right now, and all of our beliefs are based on what happened the last 2 weeks. it's on the Dolphins to actually beat the Bills, and it's on the Bills to lose the game. They should win it. You know what I mean? And this is the aspect they should be working on in their personality as a championship team. They should be working on the fact like when we go to a game that we supposed to win, we win it. I don't care how we do it, which way we do it, who catches the ball. Josh just proved on Monday night that I can go down the field and hit 5 different receivers, different people catching the ball and get the ball in the end zone. So we should have no problem each week that we go out there and play that. Let's just play this game. Let's not have any grandiose expectations. Win the game first because we got the tools to do so. And in the Dolphins, they could beat you if you don't put the pressure on Valoa. And if Valoa, with the pressure on him, can pull it off and play like a Josh Allen and throw those big plays like that, we take our hat off to him and say, boy, you just played way better than anybody expected you to play. But we're not going in thinking that, because you know a guy that young and he hasn't put in that much time, and you put pressure on him, you put pressure on Brady, it's tough.
Right. And
All
we know that
right?
we ain't gonna be
We ain't
saying it
facing
we
Brady.
ain't gonna be saying that after that game. We ain't
We
even
ain't
gonna be
facing him.
saying that. We gonna
But
be
that's what I'm
saying that.
saying. I think he's a good player and everything, Moot. But to my point is, uh, we all believe and know the Bills should win this game. This isn't a discussion. I mean, there's no need of predicting. I mean, if we all had a table and said, "What's your prediction?" Man, if you don't predict the Bills, we'll slap you in the head. You know what I mean? Well, what kind of sports talk are you trying to do? Trying to do
This-
conspiracy talk?
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying, let's just be realistic. I don't see a team that's going to run on them enough to keep the offense off the field. For one, I don't see a team passing on this team, keeping the drive alive, converting on third downs. The Bills were the best at that last year with improvements and upgrades on this defense. I don't see that. That's why you're going to see this Bills is going to. So you're not going to. The Bills are going to score points. Whether they're going to score 7 points or 3 points, they are
right,
going to score points each
right.
and every single
There you
drive.
go.
And if your offense don't keep up with that, you're going to have losses like 31-10. You're going to have an ass whooping from 41-7
Yeah,
in 3 quarters. You know, it could be worse for Miami. I mean, each week you never know. You know, you just never know. And the Bills are doing is with probably, I'm just gonna say it, the best defensive rotation in the NFL.
Oh,
They're
for
too
sure.
fresh. You know, you got teams playing just a 5 linemen the entire game, 5 against 8. That's too many fresh bodies that they have in the
yeah, yeah,
rotation, and that's going to take its toll at some point in a football game. You know, and then Tennessee, they was dealing with all types of injuries up front as well too. But let's be realistic. AJ Espinoza broke Tua's ribs last year. So if AJ did all of that last year, what you think gonna happen to Tua this year? He's barely 6 foot. So Leslie Frazier's definitely gonna come up with another scheme to, keep him contained. I
But
mean,
Mook,
most of his
stop
passes are
right
going to come
there.
out to the left, even though he's fairly accurate throwing to the right. And I did notice that about Tua, but he just got to, I mean,
But
pressure bust
go
pipes, like you
back
said before.
go back to your what you just said right there. Justice, isn't it right? The scheme is really easy for them right now. They got 4 guys up front or 5 guys in that D line rotation that they can use to stay effective at breaking that line down and
Yeah,
putting
7, 8
pressure
guys
onto
they
it.
can use.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So Tua is really, Leslie's got. Am I looking at it the right way or the wrong way? I actually think he got an easy job. You know what I mean? I really think the
In terms
job
of
is
what though? Elaborate on that.
to be able to call your defense knowing that I can get pressure and disruption
Oh
just with
man.
my line. Just
And
with my line. All I could call, whatever I want, man, zone, whatever. And if just in case it gets tough, I might have to bring a guy down. But
Well,
mainly,
you
that
know
I
how
can make
long
that
that disruption up
you know
front.
how long they've been waiting to find the right four for that
they
to
tried
Oh,
so
happen.
well,
hard.
yeah.
They
And
tried so
Vaughn
hard.
caps that off.
That's
They good now.
Exactly.
yeah, that was the
They
whole
drafted
ingredient, the
two
missing
back and back
ingredient,
drafts.
finding the right four that can
Hmm.
dictate the game. Because that's what Coach Frazier and Coach McDermott defense really is. Cover four
Yeah,
zone where it relies on your front four to create the havoc. And if that happens, it's going to be super duper tough for offense to withstand. And they finally got it right. I mean, they finally got it right in more ways than one because if one guy goes down, they don't miss a beat. Let's keep in mind, Tim Settle didn't play in this game. Ed
right.
Oliver didn't play in this game. Von Miller didn't even get a sack in this game, and they still went out there and created 4 turnovers, held Derrick Henry to 25 rushing yards. I don't know if that's a career low or not. And barely, Tannehill barely threw for, whatever he
I
threw
think it
for.
was
It wasn't enough.
a career low for Derrick Henry in
Yeah,
that game.
pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure
You
it was low
know,
for Tannehill
and
too.
you saw something pretty cool. You saw Von Miller make a tackle for loss in the running game, which dispels the rumor that he's just
Pass
just a
rusher.
pass
Pass
rush
rusher.
guy. Because he definitely
Right.
affects the run game big time. Because it's hard to get out there on the edge with a guy that can get up the field the way he does, and he's elusive at being blocked in space. It makes it very hard for a defensive end. I mean, well, no, it's already tough for a tackle to run in space and get one-on-one and block him in the run game when he's out there on the edge. But not only it's tough for offensive line who specialize in it, but a tight end. A lot of times they have a tight end over top of him that help, try to set the edge, and he can easily just whip around them
He
guys
got
across
through a couple of double
trouble.
teams last night.
Yeah, that was the
Mhm.
one I'm talking about when he made the tackle for loss on Derek.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that is huge because that's one player on the line making a disruption. It's not a stunt or a dog with the linebacker coming down and the line looping over and none. That's just one guy up front, beat two guys in the
Yeah.
backfield. All right, Leslie Frazier, how
Our
good
running
are
back.
you as a how good are you as a play caller? Did you call out? Did
I
Leslie
will say
call that?
I think we do have to give credit though to Mick Frazier, like McDermott and Frazier both, because
Yeah.
they absolutely preach fundamentals. And
Oh.
you if you get good guys to come in and play fundamental football, you see results like what we have seen, over the maturation of this football team in the last couple of years. But I think the Dolphins' main problem is you alluded to it, Rube. They can't run the football. And you're
Hmm.
not going to create opportunities for Tua to be able to play action, get guys in space, pull linebackers, make the safeties think twice about, you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to do that if you can't run the football. So if the Bills are stopping the Dolphins' run game, you're going to have Tua dropping back to pass with the defensive lineman having their ears pinned back, knowing this is a passing
Hmm.
down. Because, like Mook said, the Bills are going to score at virtually every drive, whether it's 3, 7, whatever, they're going
Yeah.
to score. So you have to put points on the board. And then once you're down by 10 and 14 or whatever, you no longer can run the ball. And now the airs are pinned back the rest of the game. Now you're in a hole, and that's how teams get blown out. So I just don't see how the Dolphins can come up with a formula to beat that specific entity right there.
Yeah. Well, we
I
soon
tell
shall
you,
see.
we'll see. And I'm always cautious going into games because there's a hidden factor that no one can ever measure, and it's like these factors of momentum and success. For a team that's been struggling to see just a little bit of success, it can spark them big time. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? I heard a guy talk about this about for the Steelers the year that Jerome Bettis done won the Super Bowl. You know, their team wasn't that good, and they said they had a game against the Chicago Bears where Brian Urlacher, came up to tackle Jerome Bettis, and Jerome made the fourth down play, and from that, it motivated that team to improve, and they went on and won the Super Bowl. So it can happen to the most unlikely teams, but the way you squash that out, it stopped Jerome Bettis before he get going.
Yeah,
You
right. Yeah.
know,
Same way they
and
did with Derrick
so
Henry.
yeah, stop him before he get going. Now that's what the focus of the Bills should be, because what Valo and the Dolphins have right now is momentum because of that comeback win, guys. It's a very dangerous thing what they just did, and it's dangerous for the Bills. That's why the Bills should not have any type of complacency. They should have a stinger out and some type of hunger and anger, and say, I put a blindfold on and say, I don't care who is standing in front of me, I'm knocking somebody the hell out. All right. If they start looking, oh, that's the Dolphins, oh, that's Tunga, we got the no, those guys just came from how many points down a
No,
week
this is
ago? How many
beyond that
points they
rule.
come from down? It's
It's
dangerous
way
though, Mook.
personal. It's way personal than that. It's Tyreek Hill is on that team. They want to beat
Well,
him.
we
They want to
already
beat him. They not
it's a
looking past
built-in
Miami
squish
in
the
that
fish
aspect.
week.
That's true.
It's already built in squish the fish week.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know,
It's the Dolphins
Miami,
automatically.
Tyreek didn't even have to
Right,
show up. We was
right,
already wondering what Miami had.
right.
But
On top of the
I
Bills
do what you know
dominating
mean.
Miami.
I do know what you mean about the competition thing between the players and the Bills and the competition between Tyreek. But you know, they can't get snowed by Tyreek. That's a Tyreek Snow job trying to get you to fall for the okie doke banana in the tailpipe, and he'll be scooting on past you. Beep beep, I'm gone. No, we playing today. We not playing last game. We not playing the time you did run past that. Like, let's see you do it at the end of the day. And
Right,
we're
and
not,
that's gonna be
and you're not just gonna get it. We're not just gonna give it to you. You're gonna have to jump up over top of me and take that mug.
and we're
So
gonna see. We're gonna see if Tyreek Hill brings some of those Kansas City plays this week, to Miami on how they were able to find some successes. And one thing I'm going to definitely talk to Coach Frazier about is shallow crosses and mesh concepts, because is kind of like the Bills' kryptonite. Last year it was. You saw a little bit Monday night when Treylon Burks were able to convert a first down on 3rd and 16, and I think they got about like 20 yards. Just running under a cross around underneath everybody. So that's going to be something to look out for in this Miami Dolphins team, because again, Tua will have to get the ball out of his hands quick. He's not going to have time to let a route develop if it's got to be down the field too long, because the pressure is definitely going to be coming. So, that's why I look for them to do like shallow crosses. Don't forget, they do have Mike Gesicki as well, Jalen Waddle. So they're going to have to do something real quick to keep the Bills second guessing and keep them to make them to play honest. And,
I'm gonna tell
we'll have
y'all
to see.
something. I tell you something real quick, and Mook, you know this, and Justice, you're a young kid, you know what I mean, compared to an old guy like myself, football wise. Now, with Mookie talking about them crossing patterns and those that in the middle of the field of the NFL that actually exists today, it's a different game than before. So, in my day and before me, in order to defend and quit receivers and teams for passing in the middle of that field area. There was a guy named Ronnie Lott that roamed through there, and all of these safeties that would pretty much rip your head off if you attempted to try and stick your hand out and catch a ball in the middle of the. There you go. So all right, you're educated. You understand that
Yes,
the
sir.
game is different and they are allowed to. I wish we had more time and I could go over. We actually saw an incidence of this in the commentators commented how there was a pass that Tannehill made in the middle of the field and the DB came up and really just tackled and held up the receiver from catching the ball. In the old days, they would have tried to separate that guy from them, but it was like a receivers would go back and yell at a quarterback if they threw that ball in the middle of that field where these safeties was coming down and come and clear your head out. There'll be fights in the locker room over that. Right now, it'd be a fight if he didn't throw it there. You see the difference was happening. So it's a little difficult for a defensive coordinator and DBs to defend those routes now. And it's simple. It's number one, it was good and it's safe what they're talking about. Those vicious hits, they really hurt guys, and it's really unsafe. But no one would catch the ball through the middle of the field. But now they do. And what do you do as a DB and a coordinator to cut that down? Because I mean, it's really tough, man. It's really tough because they have a freedom to go up and get the ball and come down with it. And you pretty much got to just stand back there and wait for him to catch it and then tackle him so much to a degree.
If the Bills got to apply pressure, that's what it's going to be. Pressure bust pipes. And if the Bills can rattle Tua or, get him off his mark, then, it's going to be a long day for them. And I know for a fact that's just what it's going to be because we all know this game was won up front. And again, I don't see Miami offensive line putting the clamps on this Bills defensive line at all.
No, they ain't got it.
We have to see. We have to see now because Tim Settle hurt, Jordan Phillips is hurt, Ed Oliver is hurt. So that's 3D tackles that's hurt. But they still have Brandon Bryant. They still got Daquan Jones. So we just have to see, how that's going to spell out. Boogie Bash, we can play inside as well. The Bills have a lot of quality depth pieces up front. But, before we slide over, let's just get into some quick grades real quick. How are we going to grade, these three categories and our unit of the game? So offensive side, I mean, come on, we got to give them nothing but a grand old A+. Josh Allen was efficient, 26 for 38. 317 yards and 4 touchdowns, Josh Allen.
Are we doing group grades or individual grades?
Offense. I'm doing offense, defense, special.
No, I mean like us three.
Yeah.
Individual grades?
I mean,
you give one and I give one. I give the same thing Mookie do.
I do offense, I guess, since I'm talking about it right now, right? That's what y'all guys meant about that?
No, like do we grade the offense?
All of us get to grade the offense. All of us get to grade the defense. All of us get to grade the special teams.
Everybody gets their grade. So I would get A+ to the offense. You know what? I'm not gonna say A+ because it wasn't enough balance for me. Even though the Bills.
Oh, you a hard teacher, Mook. You a hard teacher, man.
They did a math. They did a math 100 yards on the ground, though. But it was nobody that stood out in the running game that really dictated that. It was a collective effort. So I'm going to say B+. I'm gonna give them a B+ for that. B+ on the offensive side.
All right. And what about special teams?
Special teams, I'm going to give special teams A. I think they flipped the field pretty good. Sam Martin, first 2 punts or muffs, and the Bills were able to get one out of the two, which led to points. So special teams was good. I think Tyler Bass, he kicked 2 field goals.
So that's a B+.
They didn't get any returns at all.
That's a B+ or A.
That's an A. I'm giving.
All right, you got an A+ on an A on offense, an A on special teams. Defense get what?
Defense got to get an A+. I mean, they created 4 turnovers. You got pick sixes. You got, I mean, guys out there just flying around. So defense definitely A+.
Now, out of all the groups, what's the standout? for the game.
Or the unit of the game, my unit of the game, I'm gonna give it to the linebackers, man. I
All
mean, like you
right, all
said,
right. You
bro.
got the
Man,
linebackers.
Yeah, it
man,
gotta be
them
the
is
linebackers.
balling.
Everybody gave them the most flack because they get the most flack,
Facts.
Ruben. They talk
Yeah, they
about
got a lot of
Tremaine
flack.
Edmonds. They talk about Matt Milano can't check nobody. We know some
Yeah.
people that he struggles with. We get that. They wanted to see more flash plays out of Tremaine Edmonds. They got that. You got
What
tackle
about
for
that
losses. You
tackle
got sacks. You got
Milano
his hands
had
being
on
on
Malik
tip passes,
Willis?
right?
Yeah,
And Matt Milano with the pick six. So unit of the game that definitely had him probably, show more impact on the defensive side. I'm gonna give it to that.
right,
I'm gonna give it
right.
to that linebacker.
All right, Justice,
Group.
you up, man? With offense, defense,
All
special
right.
teams.
So for me, Jay-Z is my favorite rapper, right? And of course, I could say every single Jay-Z album is an A plus, but at a certain
Right,
point, you gotta grade them based on themselves. You know what I mean? Is this
right.
better than your best work? You know what I'm saying? Where is this rank? So if I'm just an NFL fan and I'm saying how well did the Bills offense do, I'm giving them an A plus. But I've seen what this offense can do at its peak,
Mm-hmm.
like the i.e. the Patriots game and the Chiefs game. So I'm gonna give him a B for that reason. I was gonna say B plus, but he took my. I would
Yeah.
say a B for that reason. There were a couple missed opportunities, but I mean, you really can't ask for more. You know what I mean? That is just like nitpicking at that point, right? So for defense, I gotta go A plus there. You have maybe the most monstrous running back in history. That guy is an absolute tank, and they held
Mm-hmm.
him to basically nothing, essentially, in the grand scheme of
Mm-hmm.
things. The a secondary, you got young guys, and then the one, I don't even know if I would consider Dane Jackson a veteran yet, but the one guy with experience you do have, he then takes it looked like a brutal injury. Thank goodness he's okay. Hopefully
Mm-hmm.
he can come back soon. But when then you lose him and you still continue to perform like the number one
Yeah.
secondary in the NFL. I got to give kudos to that, and special teams again. I'm with Coach there. A that weird guy number 8, whoever he was when he came onto the field. They got
Mm-hmm.
the muff punts, and holds were good. Kicks, he made Tyler Bass made every kick. uh Coverage on special teams was good. I was very satisfied. So it was just crazy because the offense put up what 40, no, not 41, 34 points.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they getting a B. That really tells you just how good this Bills team is and how
Yeah.
good they can be going forward. And my unit of the game, I'm gonna go with the secondary. I'm gonna go with the young corners
Yeah.
because I was really impressed with the way they perform. I was really impressed with the way they reacting, with the way they are reacting to, a bit of adversity. You lose your star corner, the number one guy, maybe one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And then also you lose the number 2 guy who came in and performed like a legitimate number 2. Even last year when we lost Tre'Davious White, and they still performed well. So I'm going to go with, my guy, Christian Benford, of course, and Kyer Elam. I'm going to give the secondary the unit of the game.
All
Although
right.
linebackers were
Secondary.
great. Linebackers were great.
Linebackers are good. Linebackers are good. Yeah, man, this is a tough one for me to actually grade, guys, because it was just a blowout game, and to be too critical is not fair. A win is a win. So I definitely would get an offense in the A. And the reason why I give them an A, not any particular play, I would say, because we've come to expect that the offense is good, Josh is good, the receivers catch the ball when it comes to them. Diggs makes outstanding plays, and he gets one-on-one opportunities. So, but I really give them the A because every time they touch the ball or their ball was given to them either on a turnover or something like that, they made something positive happen for the team overall. So that's why I give them the A. And that's probably one of the most underrated things that an offense can do. You hear sometimes offensive coordinators or coaches tell quarterbacks, hey, just end with us kicking the ball at the end of the day. That means we either kicking a field goal or we're kicking an extra point or we punt the ball away. So The Bills did that all day on offense, so that's why I give them the A. Then over on defense, I give them an A also because of the fact the A comes in with the turnovers, the takeaways. Um, you can say A plus because a lot of the defensive coaches that I've always been around. It's like it's one thing to get a sack, it's a one thing to intercept the ball, but it's a whole nother ball game when you take it away and then you turn and put points on the board.
Right.
So no matter at what stage of the game that comes, when a defense does that, that is definitely an A plus. And I can sit here and talk about the great play of the four guys, the defensive line up front, which made it difficult for the Titans to operate. And I think that group I would say is the one that I choose as a standout because you guys already pointed out how important the linebackers played during the game, and that's on defense. And then over on special teams, I would just say we definitely got to say like a C plus B, and I say that what we talking about, a muff punt in the whole process. All right, so that happens. But other than that, you think about the fact that the Buffalo Bills have not punted the ball quite a bit, hardly at all this year. And that also means they probably spent more time kicking the ball off and doing those things than covering punts and punt protecting and things like that. So that's where I get a grade. But they've been able to be successful at it. The kicking game, as far as actually kicking the ball through the field goal and everything's been outstanding. So that brings them back up in a grade. But what really stood out for them is the area they probably hadn't had that much experience on was the portion that was very beneficial to them because on their special teams they were able to recover uh, the ball. Just on the tenacity of the coverage that was out there to cause these things to happen. So special teams look really good. And what did I say? I gave them a C plus or C plus or something like that. It just got to work on a few other things, special teams wise, but that's what I see on them.
I'll say this real quick, and then I'll let you get to it. If Gabe Davis started this game, it would have been way worse than even what it was because Khalil Shakir was out there a couple of times and he wasn't quite sure of what to do on a few plays.
Yeah.
And especially the 4th and 1, Khalil Shakir kind of ruined the play where Josh, tried to throw it
right,
and intercept it. Khalil Shakir, like he was on the wrong side of the offense to begin the play. Josh is like telling him to go to the other side. The clock is winding down. Josh is trying to get the ball.
Yeah.
Shakir isn't aware of what's going on. And who was it? Kevin Byard, I believe, came in, split him, even though he was supposed to crack down on him. And he got to Josh there. So if Gabe is playing this game, it would have been even worse than what it was. So
yeah, you're right on that. That's what's up.
We're gonna keep everybody posted on the day to day, about Bills and Dolphins. But the Dolphins been asking for it for a couple of weeks now. They got it. It is here. So we definitely going to be talking about this. Come Thursday. With our guests. Maybe we can get the biscuit on. Maybe we can get Richmond Webb to come.
We're going to head for one of them to come through.
Definitely. We're gonna have some great sound bites. From players and coaches. Leading up to Thursday's show, leading all the way up to Sunday's matchup. Before we go, we definitely would like to say congratulations to our host Ruben Brown. Our 9-time Pro Bowler on his first nomination in the Hall of Fame, man.
That's what's
2023.
Hey man, that's what's up. Hey, what's funny about this, guys, is I've been nominated a few times for the Hall of Fame already. And being a lineman, people don't know this. We way down on the list, but your family members and stuff like that know, and they get all happy and everything. Uh, and people ask me questions about this all the time. And every football player would love to be in the Hall of Fame. Anybody that say they don't, that's not a person telling you the truth. All right, we all want to be in the Hall of
Or
Fame.
they
We
doing it
all
for the
be
wrong
happy.
reasons.
Yeah, we all be happy to be in the Hall of Fame. But I want to tell you something. I may never ever be in the Hall of Fame, and that's okay with me. Uh, I have been blessed with something probably 10 times, maybe 100 times more valuable. I got friends that are in the Hall of Fame and people that are well known for playing football and well respected. And all of those guys always call me and say really awesome things about my playing days. So, this is just like icing on the cake, I would say, because when you sitting at home and you get a text message from Patty Thomas, Thurman Thomas's wife, to say, "Hey, congratulations on." I'm already you already won. You
Yeah.
know what I
You
mean?
know,
Yeah,
right.
I don't need the jacket. Thank you. But I kind of already got it because Thurman's wife called me to say thank you. So y'all get what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm very proud about it. I'm happy about it. And, hey, I'm a lineman. What else we got? We ain't got no stats.
Right.
But I do have a friend in Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, Andre Reed, Jim Kelly. List goes on, and that's probably way more valuable than anything else.
Steve Tasker has similar
See,
sentiments.
there you go. There you go. My dog,
Speaking
my teammate. You know what I
speaking of
mean?
that, before we get out of here, Rube, do you think that pancake should be an official stat?
Yes, now that they got the video that they can tally
Yeah.
those jokers up, man, because I cleaned up. I'm telling you, and I try to tell people. Then they turn around like, nah, we don't know. I was like, yeah, that's right. My film was in black and white. So, you know, so, but yeah, I think they should. They might as well. They can do other things.
No doubt. So yeah, we need to push that, or we'll keep their own stats, and we can begin a segment of Ruben's all
Yeah,
IHOP team or
there
IHOP
you go.
players of the week. You know what I
There
mean?
you go.
Mm,
Pancakes, stacks of cakes. Stacks of cakes.
no
Yeah.
doubt. So hey, everybody,
I appreciate it, fellas.
I like everybody
Absolutely.
for tuning in. I want to spend this first special shout outs to, all the people that I've encountered over the weekend, from Bills Mafia, the fan base, to Proncho's Army, to Bills Mafia Babes, to my boy Jim Miller, my guy Jay Spence from Buffalo Rumblings. The karaoke was awesome at the Heights. Croon Photos, Alyssa like Milano, my girl Ashley Petty, Stevie Johnson and the crew, Barbecue Freddy's, Pamela, just the whole
Everybody.
crew. The whole
Everybody
crew,
was there. It
man.
was
The
awesome.
Buffalo
We had a
family.
blast.
No, man, it was
Had a
amazing.
blast
It
this
was.
weekend, all the way up to game day. NFL Live was in the building. So, it was
Yeah.
just a great atmosphere during the course of the weekend. I appreciate all of that. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, y'all got some shout outs because, we had a great weekend.
All good, man. Tell a friend, tell a friend. That's all I can say.
I want to shout out everybody who came and partied with me this weekend as well. No lie, I felt like a mini celebrity. It was completely awesome. Like, people, I love your videos. It was amazing.
That's what's
Partying
up.
partying with Bill's Mafia it really changed my life. This has been the best weekend of my life.
Yeah.
No lie, the best weekend of my life, from Friday to Monday night. The whole thing was absolutely incredible, into Tuesday morning, really. Whole
That's
thing was
what's up.
incredible. Shout out to everybody. Yeah, man, and shout out to you guys as well. Obviously, nominated for the Hall of Fame, and Coach Mook out there, during the game when partying with us. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
No
One
doubt. And
love.
my boy Rush, my boy Rory, and girl Eb, you know what I mean, we ran into
Evans,
finally
yeah,
yesterday. So, we it was a good time, man. It was a good time. But
absolutely,
we'll
absolutely.
definitely see you guys on Thursday to talk more Believe in Bills on Sirius XM here on Power 96.5. Brought to you by Bet Online. And we'll be back with some surprise guests. So, Nick, check out the fan base. Check your local listings on all our podcasts on the Fan Base Network. For Ruben Brown, for Justice the General, I'm Mookie Hawkins. And all I got to say, do you believe?